Welcome to episode 12 of Benjamin at Work at Plain Space Design. In this episode, we're going to continue to expand on the topics that we started with last week, that is, patents, tools, and assets. Because since these are the most important things that make a business, well, we can dwell here for a while and I can expose to you more of what I have done in those areas of business structure. So, my tools were the drafting tools that I shared with you, but that's just the beginning of it. I have another tool or set of tools that I am very, very proud of. It's the tools that I use for research most of the time, and that makes it a very, very valuable asset. That is my research library. It is a book collection of several hundred books that I purchased to assist me in my entrepreneurial activities and to provide things that I needed. So I have in that collection some books that are rare, some books that are related to historical events, and books that represent my desire to know the most challenging knowledge of the day of our time. So examples of all those types of books. Let's start with uh, Michio Kaku, I believe his name is, the author of Hyperspace. That book is in my library. Um, then there's uh, a famous book, The Handbook of Astronautical Engineering, and that book may have been handled by some of the luminaries of early space science, early rocket scientists, Otto Struve, von Braun, among many others. Some of the luminaries are mentioned as being uh, editors and advisors for the creation of that book. So that is one that I got from a person or a store that specialized in finding rare and hard to find books here in Savannah. They were called the Book Lady. And I was so happy when the book lady was able to find me a copy of the Handbook of Astronautical Engineering, one of my favorites. Also, in the vein of famous books or historic events that have books in my library attached to them, there's a book called Ideas and Information. This one was written by Arno Penzias. And if you're familiar with astronomy and radio science and cosmology, then you know the name Arno Penzias is attached to the discovery of the background radiation that enabled us to create the Big Bang theory, the theory that is currently standing as the theory that describes the creation of the universe. Well, this book is actually autographed by Arno Penzias. So I'm kind of glad to have that one in my collection. And let's see, I have books that I purchased from Dover Publishing, and they are a book company that reprints some of the famous and historically important books. So I have some books by Albert Einstein that I was able to get as a reprint from Dover. Um, some of the books that had were important in the creation of quantum mechanics, quantum chemistry. In fact, everyone uh, who had some type of significant role in the formation of modern technology, the foundation of those ideas that we use today, I would try to find a book for them, from them, at least from some source. So what is the most difficult topic that I could think of? Tensor calculus. I had to have that one in my library. The Millennium Problems. I had to have that one in my library. Books about topology. I had to have books like that in my library. Electromechanics, physics, uh, construction, engineering. I mean, everything that had something to do with building, technology, engineering, science, a STEM-based research library. That's what I had. So that was one of my pride and joy, one of my proudest possessions, one of the assets that I am most proud of. My private library that I dedicated to being used in my entrepreneurial activity. Also, along the line of books, one of my better business assets is bookbinding tools that I purchase. That's right, I don't just read them and buy them, I also bind them. And so I have used these tools to create a product, bound notebooks that I was trying to sell as one entrepreneurial activity in the earlier days of plain space design. And that came in very handy because those very same notebooks are the notebooks that I have been using as my research notebooks. I didn't sell many of them, but I did make quite a number of them, and I have been using them for my own business purposes. And if someone should happen to want to buy them, I still have them, so you never know. That might still kick off. But in any event, I can rebind damaged books, and that's going to come in handy because my books have been taking a lot of damage because of the fact that I don't have them in an environment that is uh, suitable for them, like a library would be. They have actually been exposed to humidity and uh, just bad conditions. And I'm going to have to end up rebinding a lot of them. In fact, I have a few over here on the table that I'm going to start rebinding. So that was a good skill to have. And the tools that I purchased for binding, well, they're definitely going to come in handy in that respect. Keeping my assets maintained. That's important as well. And as for patents, well, I have started working on the drawings for the patent that I'm about to, patent application that I'm about to submit. So the drawings went pretty good. I haven't finished them, but they're going in the right direction. And it's not going to be much longer before I have a full set of patent drawings to accompany my patent application. Words, boy, they come hard when you're trying to be careful. That's the thing that trips me up, I guess. So in any event, this is the end of this episode, we've covered some important things, and we're going to dwell here for a while and add in a bit more detail about each of these things: patents, tools, and assets. I've got them.